comic book. How many of you think that comic books are just for kids? Well, as the owner of Comic Zone, I can tell you that comic books are for everyone. And I want to tell you about some of the value that you can derive from a comic book just by exploring the archetypes of three different comic book characters. Do you know what an archetype is? According to Carl Jung, an archetype is a universal image, a recurring pattern, image, or motif that you access through your consciousness with a powerful symbolic image. And it's something that all humans have in common and always have. It's a universal energy. So today I'm going to be talking about the archetypes inherent in Superman, Wonder Woman, and the Joker. We'll start out with Superman. Superman is one of the most popular, longest known comic book superheroes of our time. Superman was introduced in 1938 and has retained his popularity for 72 years. Superman represents the consummate hero archetype. The hero archetype is the protagonist or central character whose primary purpose is to separate from the world, to sacrifice himself in service to others, and to restore balance to the world. Superman is the perfect example. He came from another planet, he discovered his unique abilities, uses them to fight for truth, justice, and the American way. And as he does so, he restores balance to our world. Now, anytime you're fighting for a cause, or anytime you're advocating for a cause, or even if you're voting, you're actually accessing the Superman archetype, the hero archetype inside of yourself as you fight for what you believe is right. Now we're going to move on to Wonder Woman. Wonder Woman is almost as old as Superman. She was created in 1941 by a man who wanted to create a female character who had the strength of Superman but still had the beauty and gentleness of a woman. Thus, Wonder Woman is born. She represents the strong female archetype. Wonder Woman didn't just stop criminals, she transformed them. The strong female archetype has been a famous archetype throughout history. You find her in the sovereignty goddesses of ancient Ireland. You find her in other mythological goddesses such as Diana or Minerva. You find her in any woman warrior. The Amazons were all strong female archetypes. And in fact, the female archetype was very much responsible. In fact, Wonder Woman herself, who was introduced prior to this, was very much responsible for heralding in the women's lib movement in the 70s. So anytime that you are believing in yourself and accessing both the compassionate side of yourself as well as the strong side of yourself, you're accessing the Wonder Woman archetype. And finally, we have the Joker. How many of you saw the great box office hit, The Dark Knight? Well, The Dark Knight was the consummate example of the Joker in action. The Joker represents the trickster archetype. The trickster archetype exists to trick us into thinking about things and coming to a greater understanding of those things. The trickster exists to break down old forms and to make us question the structures within which we live so that we can arrive at a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. Tricksters are unpredictable and often unassuming. They trick us into thinking. So how many of you learned a little bit of something about what comic books can show us about ourselves and the world? Yeah, see, you did, didn't you? That's the trickster at work. In conclusion, I'd just like to say that comic books have intrinsic values to help us shape our lives, help us shape our view of the world. Superman reminds us that we all have a hero inside of us. Wonder Woman reminds us that we all have a strong and beautiful self if we just believe in it. And the Joker reminds us to question the world and our structures so that we can keep on growing. Why so serious? Why so serious? Put a smile on that face. Thank you very much.